Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Doyes, and welcome to a brand new day. Welcome back to Age of Engineering. There was a rainstorm, not a thunderstorm, so no monsters spawned here, but there was a rainstorm, so it was a little darker here. So yeah, welcome back to Age of Engineering. So in the last episode, we were working on a couple of things. I built another building, or at least the plans of the Actually Edition building. We were mostly working with IC2, and I did verify that indeed the transformers, the 5-dot side is the higher tier of power, and then the outputs are all on the 1-dot side. So it's 1 input to 5 outputs, kind of like everything else. I kind of assumed that was the case. I just wanted to make sure, but that seems to be the case. We are currently getting power very slowly from our solar panel, and this guy is powered up and heated up and ready to go. So pretty much as soon as we want to do stuff, we'll have power. And this is just a nice little, this is just my power setup for the time being. Nothing major, just something to get power. Eventually, like I said, we'll have actual power generation probably centered on here, back in this area. And that'll be fun. The other thing we were working on last time was trying to get empowered Inori crystals, and oh my gosh, so I guess I didn't look, but the empowered Inori block requires 16 million RF. So I am very slowly, very slowly getting that. This one is the one that needs power. I have the culinary generator going with just some carrots. Basically anything I am throwing into this guy to get this empowered. We're gonna improve that a little bit today by getting some canola, which I also moved over here and started farming a little bit of. And basically the plan is to make some better RF generators, something that's just gonna get us by until we can get the solar panels. So I was looking, by the way, I also I put all the solar panels over there that we made last time, and just to try to get some of the biodiesel backed up, hopefully. It is slowly going through potatoes, so it's gonna take its time. How's my steel? Awesome, I have steel. Cool. We need that for today. Yes, we do actually need that for today. So this guy is kind of just slowly getting some trickle from the solar panels, but other than that, he's not really doing anything. He's not outputting power, so he's getting power from all of the stuff, which I should probably go ahead and just disconnect that for the time being, because there's no reason. So yeah, he's gonna get power off of one of those guys. You know what, we can just remove this guy for right now. We're actually going to want to upgrade him very soon, but in order to do that, we're going to need this guy back. So yeah, just a lot of things. So I went ahead and made a bunch of oil, and what we're going to do today is we're going to make an oil generator from Actually Editions, and this is going to allow us to basically hopefully get a little bit more power generation, and then we're going to work towards getting other things like the solar panels. So the solar cells, which are used for the solar tier 1, that is going to require 32 million RF to produce, to get the controller. But that's actually not the worst part of all of this. The worst part is the solar cells, which require octadic capacitors. I did some math, and all in all, we are going to need 80 capacitors. So that's a lot, and not really something I want to do, because that's a lot of empowered Redstonia crystals. But overall, it's going to be worth it in the end. It is considerable free power. I don't have the guide on me at the moment, so I can't tell you how much, but it is not insignificant. It is decent power for free. And that's the biggest thing. It's going to be a huge investment, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. And that's kind of the hope. That's the plan anyways. So I'm trying to get this guy done. I have no idea how close he is to being finished or anything like that. So Hopefully it's close-ish, but the solar array, if we look at it, the tier 1 produces 700 RF per tick. That's not really good. It's not bad, but it's not really good. However, requires 16 structure blocks tier 1 and 9 solar cells. Well, we increase the number of solar cells and the structure blocks to structure blocks tier 2, which are not terribly more expensive. The diamonds are a little rough, but diamonds in the rough. The vibrant alloys aren't terrible. It does require a lot of them, but honestly, compared to the stage 1, which requires electrical steel, which silicon is not fun to get at this point, is a lot easier. So that I think is going to be worth it. And then the actual like solar tier array, tier 4, where's tier 2? Tier 2 requires diamantine crystals empowered, but that's not too bad. We can do that once we have power. So basically, we're going to get power from these solar cells. In the mining dimension, they're wonderful. And then we're going to use them to get more and more and more power. So that's kind of the plan. That's the idea. But as you see, from tier 1, it's 720 to 4,000 RF. And then tier 3 is 15,000. And then tier 4 is insane at 51. Almost 52,000 RF per tick. That's insane, but it requires a lot of stuff, including structure blocks tier 4. Tier 3s are really cheap. Tier 4s require nether stars. That won't be a problem later, but for now, that is not fun either. So the plan for today is I went ahead and between episodes, I made everything we need except for the steel to make the advanced machine blocks, advanced machine casings. So we are going to need a steel block cut up, which should not be a problem at all. And what we're going to do is we're going to make, see, that's the steel block. I want to make sure. We're going to make the oil generator from Actually Additions. Now, this is not a terrible recipe. Reinforced stone, we've got a good bit of that. The iron casings, once we have the advanced machine blocks, are easy enough to do. And yeah, we have oil. I've made oil. You can also just use canola oil, but it's not very good. Oil itself is a lot better. However, there is something that is even better than what we're gonna have, and the question is, do we want to use that or not? I can talk about that here in a second. It's easier to show than to just do. So let's put some steel in here. Yeah, that'll work. We'll just put steel right there. Steel plates can go in here for now. And we need iron and black quartz. So I don't have much iron on hand. I have some iron ore, so we can use that. Black quartz, we're gonna need more. So we're gonna need to process some black quartz ore. That's surprisingly tricky to say. What's the best way? So, crusher gives you 2, alloy smelter gives you 1, sag mill gives you 2. So, sag mill. Probably one of the fastest ways as well. So, we'll just do that. We'll get some black quartz. Cook it up pretty quick. And what do we need in total? We need 8 in total. Something like that. We can put iron in there. And get that processing as well. So, we'll just let all that go. And let's see, let's go ahead and get the iron casings, and then we're gonna need reinforced stone, which, like I said, we have a good bit. I don't remember, we must have made a bunch at one point, because I believe this is just wood and stone recipe. Yeah, so it's just wood and stone. That's easy enough. And then we need some empowered canola seeds, which we made a couple episodes ago. I don't remember why, but we did. So with that is the oil generator, and this guy is really cool. So if we take, let's just put him down right, you know, you can be picked up. We're going to put you down right here, and we're going to put the colonnade generator down right there. Now I know, we have this base set up so that power goes in that building. We'll get there. Until we can get kind of stabilized, a lot of this stuff is going to be, well, kind of a mess. And that's an understatement. So, plenty of iron that we can process, plenty of cobblestone. And yeah, let's see. Is it done with the gravel? Alright, cool. And the nickel. So, we have this oil generator. If we take... I don't have a bucket on me. Let's go grab a bucket. If we take a bucket of oil, we should be able to see, if we look at the GUI, what this guy is able to do. So this should generate... it says 200 RF per millibucket in a turbine generator. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that is still considered. We could find out, but I don't really care too much. But we can take this crystallized canola oil, and let's find, right here looks fine. We can place this down, drop one of those in, and now we have crystallized oil, which generates more. We can also do the same with an empowered canola oil. Now this is something we could set up to be automated, but the empowered oil generates a lot. And it's already generating just a ton of power, and it's barely using any. So it's 350 RF per tick, and it doesn't use all that much. It uses 50 per like burn cycle, and then it just keeps going. So that is something that we can do. We can just use crystallized as well. That would be fine. But the catch is we have to place the liquids in the world and then do things with them, basically. And that's not something I necessarily want to do. Let's go ahead and make another fluid tank. Because all in all, this is a temporary solution. It really is. And it's not a solution that I'm planning on using much past when we're once we get we only need one glass, don't we? Once we get like the solar panels going, we're not really going to need it. So yeah, there's that. But for the time being, it would be nice to have a little bit of better supply of power. So we're gonna do at least the crystallized. This is easy enough to do, and we can take a fluid tank. We should be able to put this on top and tell it to push, and that is almost empty. So that was 350 RF per tick. If we do this, it's only 200. Now it's not that much to just throw the crystallized stuff in, but that is considerably better than I think just normal oil, which I kind of want to see what it does. So we'll let that go through and we'll take a look at it. So what are we going to do today? Well, honestly, we're kind of at the point where I'm waiting for power. And I think probably the best thing to go ahead and do in this situation is go grab the Matic and hoe that spot so I have a nice even number. There we go. Much better. Plant a potato there, and we're good. All right. So basically, the thing that I need to do, and then the thing we need to work on, is we need to work towards the solar panels. There's nothing getting around that. So what can we do about that? Well, I did some math. I kind of mentioned this. We're going to need 80 capacitors, 10 steel, which isn't bad, a bunch of void crystals and lapis, that's easy, and nether quartz, all pretty easy, a bunch of clear glass, which is just sand and nether quartz, and then we're going to need, what is it, we're going to need 80 electrical steel as well. Now this is the problem. We need a lot of silicon. To get silicon, we need silicon dioxide and a centrifuge, and it's just not fun. So I have a thermionic fabricator. This guy will set up, honestly, once we're ready for him. Let's put him right here. And we'll just put the lever on him so he's off. And I'll set him up later. The centrifuge doesn't have that problem with using power. What it is, I think, is the thermionic fabricator wants to warm up. And that is not ideal. So we need the centrifuge. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put this down right here. And we'll get some silicon dioxide in there. It's disabled by redstone. Can I put it here? Or does it power through the block? Why does it power through the block? That is not fun. Alright, so I guess we'll put it here. We can tell these machines not to worry about it. In fact, they are that way by default. So no power, which means you're not working. So oil buckets give you 100 RF. So it is much, much, much better to just go ahead and do this. And the crystallized canola seeds are easy enough to get. And this is something I'm going to do off camera mostly. And I'll probably do it manually because, why not? It's not that big of a deal. And the whole thing is we could do it automatically. There are ways. There are a lot of ways, actually. And I believe Actually Additions, which gives you all this stuff, gives you that. So the fluid placer, which is just 2 buckets around an auto placer, which is just Palace Crystal, basic coil, which you've seen before, and cobblestone. So that's really easy. Actually really simple. But the problem is you have to also drop stuff in to the liquid and then pick it back up. You would need an fluid. You'd need a way to pick up the fluid as well, and you'd have to automate that, and it's complicated. I've seen it done. I know I kind of talk about YouTubers that I'm not affiliated with at all. They are literally just people I watch. So like Direwolf, if you play modded and you don't watch Direwolf at all, there's something wrong, because he knows a lot of stuff about modded, usually. But he made a system that worked, his base worked off of that canola oil and empowered it. That's not something I want to do. It's not something I want to, it's not the path I want to take with this mod pack. You do have options on power, ultimately, so it's not the one I want to take. We're going to be using solars because we're going to make our base here, and that makes the most sense. So let's just get all this stuff. And I'll need to get some more saplings, but that's not a problem. There's one right here. Just grab that. And I'll be back over here in a moment. So, yeah, let's see. So we're going to need a lot of... We're going to need a lot of silicon. We're going to need 80 silicon in total, which means that's a lot of... oh, cool, that's filled up, and that's still awesome. That actually works out quite nicely. So 80 electrical steel is a lot of clay. And so we'll get to that here soon. What were we? Yes, this. Hey, it's done. We have the empowered Nori crystals. Finally. That is actually good because we can work on some other stuff now. So this guy will separate into the little throwing stars. And we were going to be using this for the augment, the speed augment, but we also need empowered diamantine, so we're going to wait on that. So we'll just put this stuff in here. It's the to-do chest for later. Let's go ahead and get a bunch more slime. And we'll just get all of this stuff nice and powered up so that I can make Redstonia. Because we are going to make a couple of capacitors today. The reason being is because we want to upgrade our capacitor bank. And in order to do that, we're going to need, I think, 6 more capacitors. And that's a lot of Redstonia. It's not fun to do this, but it is needed. We need more power storage. All right, good enough. We get extra saplings. That's all that really matters to me. So these guys are all powered. We have extra power that will eventually, once these guys fill up, just kind of hang out, store more power. So let's start working on what to do first. Okay, first of all, I want to finish the silicon, so I can do that off camera. So we're going to take this clay. We need clay blocks, and I believe, let's see, what is the ratio we're going to need? So if we look at the recipe for this, it is 1 to 4, and it's 4 to 1. So it's 2 blocks for every 4. We're going to need 2 blocks for that. That puts us up to 20, and then 60. That's a lot. We're gonna need it like about that much, but let's just do all 22. And what we need to do, is there any other way? So if we look at the recipe for this, silicon dioxide comes from clay dust. We can get clay dust from the macerator, or the grinder from GregTech, but that's it. So all this goes in the macerator, and that will process, and then we put it in the thermal centrifuge, and it processes there, and then eventually it will be good. So that's going to do its thing. Now the thing about all of this is this will maintain power a lot better, because the power, this is sending out 512 EQ, and then it just gets downgraded, but this still receives all of it. So it's weird how it works, but it works very well. Take my word on that. I'm not going to explain it. There's better IC2 explanations out there. I'm not entirely sure how it all works. It works in packets, and it's complicated. It's weird, but it works. So while that is going, we're going to need a lot of capacitors. So this is going to be something that I'm going to be doing off camera pretty much whenever I get a chance. And a large portion of it, I should have kept some gold ore. I have a little bit, I think. I have 2 pieces. So I'm going to be getting a bunch of gold ore, and part of what we'll do is we go to the stone separator and we put it in there, and it does its thing. We're also going to be getting... Oh, cool. That is... Everything's fully powered. Awesome. We also need a bunch of redstone. And here's the thing about redstone. If you process redstone... So if we look at the processing for redstone, we will get, I think sag mill is the best. You get 8 plus 1 sometimes. Oh no, the crusher gives you 10 pieces of redstone every time. However, if we break this with this, we get 5, like half of that. Kind of a waste, right? Well, not exactly. I don't know if this is needed, but every once in a while, we will get... There they are, redstone crystals, and that is required to make the redstonia. So if we need to make another basic capacitor bank. I can speak. We need to make another basic capacitor bank, which requires 4 capacitors, which requires empowered redstonia, which requires we're going to make the block form, and that requires rose red, ardite, red garnets, and resonating redstone crystals. So we're going to want a supply of those. I have a few. We'll get more later, but let's get a bunch of these. We're going to need red garnets. We can do 3 right now. And then all the redstone go in there. We're going to need rose red, which... I don't think I have any over here. I haven't grabbed any red flowers. Is there any nearby? The other option, which is kind of a neat option, is beets, which I also don't have. I've been putting stuff in here, by the way, just storage. I will figure out that kind of stuff later. It's not super high on the priority list, but it's high enough that I'll get it taken care of soon enough. So we also need Ardite, which is reasonably plentiful. I got a good bit of Ardite, or I just need to process it. So looks like we need some red flowers or beets. Beets are also an option, and there's a red flower there. Let's just go into the overworld. We'll go grab our beet seeds, which we have from the villages, and that should be honestly one of the best ways to get a good bit of red flowers. Even though there's a ton in this little horse stall that I've made, it's going to be easier in the long run to have the beets and grow them. So I believe the seeds are not in there, in here. We have one beetroot. There they are, beetroot seeds. Do we have any red dye right now? We have some poppies, but I'll keep those for now. So if we look at the uses for beets, you can make rose red. You can also alloy smelter them. Wow, with... Okay. Crusher. That's weird. Oily potion. I don't know what... Is that used for anything? Greek fire. Okay. That's kind of cool. I don't know if that's vanilla or not. Not something I've ever encountered. So there's not a good way to duplicate the red dye, but with like the red tulips, usually you can sag mill them for multiple or crusher. So we'll get the beets. We'll get the beets growing, and I'll kind of worry about that later off camera. Just add it to the farm, which this farm is temporary until I set up a more permanent farm somewhere over in this area. Depending on how much RF it requires, it doesn't need to be super close to anything else. So let's just throw this stuff in here, and we need to make redstonia, the crusher, and since these take what is it, 4 million? Yeah, 4 million. It's basically all of these guys filled. So this is something that we'll do kind of sparingly, as needed. But where do we get these? Block of red garnet, world gem. So there is a ruby ore. That's what I need to find, and I will go mining for that later as needed. So this should work pretty quickly. It should not be too much of a problem. And while that's going, let's go ahead. We do have some crystals. We have 4. And what we need is capacitors. So capacitors also require copper electron tubes. So we're going to need some copper. We're going to need some redstone, and I know we're going to need some glowstone, as well as some gold. And then everything else we'll get soon enough. So, copper electron tubes, like that. Put those in there. And redstone ingots on the sides. So, algorithm separator for that. That'll be nice and easy. We have the enriched gold. This is almost unpowered. And we'll get there. Let's see, this can take the slime ball. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of me doing processing. So let's see how the coal dust is, not the coal dust, the clay dust is doing. And this is probably one of the easier things we're going to need for... Okay, that's done. So 44 of that. We throw that in there. It'll do its work. We have a good bit of power. We have 500,000 EU, which is not too bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. And we just kind of do what we can. That's where we're at in the series. We could move on to the next age, but until we get a nice foothold in this age, it's not really going to matter. The next age is RF Tools, which kind of focuses on dimension building and quarries, both of which are very power hungry. So it's not anything we're going to want to get into soon anyways, so we're just going to not worry about it too much. The age after that is back focusing on industrial craft, so that is important, but not super important at this point. So let's just... No. Do I not have... You have to have an empty hand, I guess. So we'll get everything else prepared. And might as well just let it go. It will eventually do its thing. So, bunch of slime balls. Which means more slime blocks, and there we should have everything we need. So I'm going to work on getting all of this stuff. If we need more, which I think we will. Basically, as we go, I'm going to get this stuff done. So we need those, and I think it's thickened glass. No, thickened glass is for here. What goes at the top for the... It is thickened glass. Alright, why isn't that working? It's disabled by redstone, and then we need something very specific in the... we need clear glass, which is enriched sand. So we need some nether quartz. We'll want... Let's get like 8 of that. 6, 7, 8. And then we'll make a couple recipes of this just for now, and then as we go, we'll get more and more. So we need power line, and yeah, here soon we'll have a decent storage bank for power, and then we can start setting everything up again to run off of this guy. That has been kind of the issue. So it's got power now. We can turn it on and put 2 things of clear glass in there. And as soon as those melt, it should make the copper electron tubes. So there's 1. We need more thickened glass. Derp. I knew that. So that is just sand and more glass. So we have a little bit here. And I believe it's something like this. Make sandy glass, and then we just cook it again. And there's that. We need even more. That's fine. Let's just go get a stack of stack of sand. And what we'll do is, whoops, just 1 stack. We'll take half of it, we'll cook it into glass, we'll take the other half and make the thickened glass, and we'll be good. So this will just take a second, but we'll get everything we need, and then we can turn this guy off. He'll stop using power, because we need just 1 more recipe worth of everything. And something like that. Alright, it's almost done, and we should be good to go to get the sandy glass into thickened glass, and then we'll just keep a nice supply of that for now. So it'll make it. Come on. You have everything. No power. Oh, great. Okay, well, that's easily fixed. Throw that in there. We'll do 1 more. And like I said, a lot of this stuff, it's just tedious work. The series has been very tedious at times. And a lot of it is just because I don't really have a good system of power. Once we get good power generation, it should be a little bit less tedious. It's going to be still tedious for me because I need to get a lot of resources. This mod pack is very resource heavy, but it's going to be a little bit more smooth on the episodes just because we're going to have everything we could want. So let's go ahead, put those in there, and make that. All right, turn you off. Take that out. And all right, we have the copper electron tubes, we have the enriched gold, we have empowered redstonia. So that should be everything we need for capacitors. How many capacitors can we make? We can make 3. That's not bad. What are we missing? The empowered redstonia. We can make 1 more. So that is going to be the capacitor bank. And then what we're going to need to do is we're going to need a double layer capacitor, which is going to require some coal dust, and energetic alloy, which is just gold, redstone, and glowstone. So let's go ahead and get that processing, which is why I grabbed this. Let's 2, 2, and 2. And you know what? You can take some of my food. Just take the slime balls, why not? And there's the energetic alloys. We have coal dust, that is not an issue. We're gonna need a block of redstone, some iron, and we can put that away and this stuff away. We are gonna need some more gold, enriched gold. Is there another good way to get that? No, just gold ore. So we need to get the enriched gold, which is a calculator. That's not a bad recipe, but let's take 2. Do I have any more enriched gold? No, I have a little bit, but not enough. So we'll just do this. Put the glass in there. That's kind of my junk chest right now. And our calculator is right there. And there is a bunch of enriched gold. We should be able to get that cooked up. And I think we need 1, 2, 3. Yes, we need 3 more. We are going to need to do another recipe of this, so I will kind of do the rest of this off camera because I kind of need to. I don't want to bore you guys with just waiting on things to process. So here's the deal. I am going to work between episodes just kind of getting power. And we have 11 silicon. Let's see how much this gets us. And then we'll kind of go from there. So you are out. Let's just give you a little bit more. I have plenty of crystallized oil. I wonder. Let's find out. Let's dig a hole right here, just so I don't have to go as far. Let's drop 2 of these in here. And if I do this, it eats both of them. Alright, well, good to know. And just do that. Whoops. Didn't want to do that. And there we go. So that's all we can do for right now. We'll have that be the hole because I don't want to run back and forth. I don't know why I was doing that. That's not very intelligent. So that guy has plenty of power. You are always the one that doesn't have power. Alright, so that's going to generate a good bit of power. We should have pretty much everything we need. We just need 2 more. We need a few more capacitors. So, yes, let's go ahead and see how much silicon this will get us. It'll be 44, which will put us up to 60. So we're getting close with the silicon. And then I'll just kind of process all this stuff. And the plan will be, next episode, I'm going to try try my hardest to have everything but the palace crystals. We're going to look at those. I'm going to try to have everything ready to make all the solar cells and all of the structure blocks that we need. The modifier cores are pretty easy, but they do require a lot of aluminum. I think we have a good bit. We'll have to look at that. So we have no aluminum because I haven't been processing any of it. We have a lot of bauxite. So I'll tell you guys what. I'm going to go ahead and let's make the double layer capacitor. And what does it require? Energetic alloy. Okay, that's at least nice. Energetic alloy is not a problem to make. It's just, like I said, gold. Well, like we did, it's just gold and redstone and glowstone. So this will get us a double layer capacitor, which we will use once we have all the capacitors. And then this, we can go ahead and get ready to make the capacitor bank. We can grab this capacitor bank, which, you know what, let's just drain it on this guy right there. Always active. Just give all the power to this guy and everything else should be fine. Alright, he's out. Okay, so what we'll do is next time we'll make the next capacitor, and I'm going to work on trying to get all the solar cells stuff done except for the solar controller. Now in order to get that, we are going to need empowered palace crystals, and that requires prismarine, blue slime, raw fish, and cobalt. So nothing fun there. The prismarine we can get pretty easily from nether quartz, and the blue slime is a little bit of a pain. We need to get blue slime, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Don't we have some blue slimy saplings? Yeah, we'll just grow these. The leaves will occasionally drop blue slime, and that's what we'll do. So, don't I have? I'll have to go get some slimy dirt from the overworld. But that's the plan. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know we didn't get all that much done, but a lot of processing. It's just going to take time, and honestly, that's where we're at with this mod pack. It's just going to take some time to get to the point that we need to get to. That's pretty much all there is to it. So I'm going to do a lot of work off camera, but I wanted to bring you guys in for just kind of the predecessor, and I wanted to get this power generator up and running, because that's much more important. I just need to throw more canola in there, and canola is decently plentiful, and I can always use the garden cloche if we need to. So there is, by the way, a correct ratio of the canola presses to fermenting tanks. I don't know what it is. I don't really care. Like I said, this is mostly a temporary solution. So I'm going to do a lot of work getting a bunch of redstonia empowered, and we'll go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!